beautiful afternoon. We just got done.
Beautiful. It's like cloudy and dreary.
That is beautiful. It's not snowing.
It's true. It's not snowing.
There's no snow. There's no
That's true.
ice.
So
I brought you up here to one of my favorite haunts. We're at Latoteca in Prince Frederick.
I have been here
the
with you
dinner
before.
rush.
It's like your planning meeting zone.
It is. So we're here before the dinner rush.
Yeah.
You know, it's still busy, right?
No,
But
I every time I've been here, it's always good. The service is fast. I definitely want to give them credit for that. Like that's
fantastic.
really good stuff.
it's fantastic. So
And the margaritas for after work.
right? Fantastic too. We haven't actually called up in a long time.
That's been a while.
I have a lot of people. It's funny. I have people come up to me and be like, "Hey, who's that guy you did videos with? Like, are you guys doing them again?"
I know.
And
Do we
I
get
was
to say
like,
we're back?
Maybe. Like, we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
I'm like, "You mean Chris? Like that guy?" Like, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
So last year was a little hectic for you,
Yeah, it was.
right, with being president.
So I'm hoping it'll be, I'm now the immediate past president for the state of Maryland.
Yeah, so you're still doing the legislation.
Yeah.
You're still going up to Annapolis,
Which is crazy.
once a week.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
Which is crazy.
yeah. And we're not going to get into
The
politics
definition. No,
and
no, no, no.
everything else. But so the big thing, I think we just wanted to talk about. We hadn't called up in a long
No,
time,
it's-
right?
no,
We wanted
yeah.
to talk about the market, and not the look. Everybody's tired of hearing about rates and,
Right.
and the politics and what's going to happen.
You're
And now
tired of
we
hearing
have-
from us.
Right. Well, now we have the issue of government employees, which you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Of are you
And
losing
you don't want to
your
you
job?
don't want to talk the doom and gloom. We don't want to be that way.
No. So it's all about good stuff going on.
So I will say there's some good things. I think there's a prediction that rates will slowly start to subside a little bit over the next year.
I mean, look, I'm not saying we're heading in the right direction. I'm not saying we're going to stay there, but over the last 4 or 5 days, we've seen better rates. Like we've seen
Yeah.
good stuff going on.
You know what? I think, Darren, one of the things we talked about is what's made this this rate situation for us a little different is the availability of different programs from you guys, right? So like now there's opportunities that you may not have had before,
Right.
that you now have through programs that you guys offer.
It
you know?
is, and you know, I had a meeting this morning, and everybody's taunting FHLB loan and
Right.
grants and free money. Great program, nothing
could be,
against
right?
it. It may not be the perfect thing for you. It may not fit in the area you're looking to buy. But that's not to say there's not another program. Like,
You know what?
Maryland is the largest, the housing authority is the largest bank in Maryland.
Yeah, right.
They have money for down payment. They have
Right.
money to pay off your student loans. They have money
Right.
for closing costs. We still have a lot of 100% financing down here. So there is a ton of programs to fit whatever your needs are.
So I'm going to throw you like super credit because this is an immediate situation that occurred, and it's with me and one of my clients, which you know, and this guy is closing tomorrow,
Yep.
and he was a VA buyer,
Yep.
and he is going to. We calculated what our closing costs were and negotiated the deal. He's getting
Overestimated.
overestimated a little.
Sure.
He's getting like $1,800 back tomorrow at closing, and you're paying his HOA fees for the next year.
So he put down a $2,000 EMD.
Okay.
We estimated his closing costs in the beginning, right?
Right.
You
No, I
said how
remember.
much it is.
Yep. How much
Gave
is it
you a
gonna
dollar
be?
amount.
Yep.
So one of the things I always tell people is, look, I'm overestimating. Like these
Yeah.
numbers should be high. At the end, it's going to be low. I don't want to be that guy that comes back and says, "Hey, I need
need more
another
money."
$1,000." That throws off underwriting.
Yeah,
throws
right,
off
right.
approvals. People get pissed off.
Yeah.
So we told him what the number was. It came back. He was getting an extra $700 or $800
Right.
too much back. Thank you.
Perfect.
Appreciate it.
But let's see.
Fantastic
Yeah,
service.
I know it's so great.
So we couldn't give him more than $2,000 back. He didn't want it. VA allows you to put it towards a debt. He really didn't have any debts.
Yeah.
He had already paid off a bunch of his stuff, so he didn't want to put it in a credit card. We prepaid his HOAs for a rest of the year.
Yeah.
So he doesn't make any HOA payments. He gets
That's awesome.
$1,800 back. It's the perfect scenario.
Well, see, and that's what I mean. I mean, like that's what I think. There's opportunities if we in the way we work things together and we communicate on things and figure out what the best deal is. But
And this is what people need to realize. Like when you're a buyer and you're getting numbers, there's a leap of faith, right? You're talking
There
to a
is,
lender,
for sure.
and I'm explaining to them, look, here, my numbers are high. everything's going to be probably higher than what you're going to see, but you
Right.
get what you pay for.
We said
at
that
the
earlier.
end, we're going to be ahead of the game, and we're going to take care of you the best possible way.
I just love what you said earlier, and I won't call out any other mortgage companies because you and I had a conversation about and said I'm totally okay with them going there because I know that you basically know that you have the ability.
get a call in
you're
2
going to get a call from them because your deals better. Your deals are better, and I love that, and that's one of the reasons we work so well together. But I think it's funny because there's been so much doom and gloom about the market and the things that we've been dealing with.
Yep.
To have a little bit of a bright light in some of the availability of programs and things like that, I think is huge. It's huge for the consumer. It's huge for us.
Right.
I worried about inventory, and I still do, right? Like, because there's still buyers out there that over the last few years they haven't been able to find what they want.
Yeah. Still
Right?
can't.
Still can't. And so now there's some reasoning for them to have to get somewhere. So
the turn time used to be, I would get a client, we get them pre-approved,
Right.
they would go out in a weekend or two, and they'd be under contract.
right now
So
it's a year or more.
30 to 60 days, and they're out of my pipeline.
Right.
Now, 6 months,
A year, right.
year and a half.
Yeah.
We're starting to see, and let's get away from the doom and gloom, right? Let's
I'm not trying to be there, I swear I'm not.
Let's go the opposite way. So there are people that are being called back in, and I've got 2 clients right now who reported back to PAX full
I have
time.
one too. Right.
They were in D.C., Montgomery County,
Yeah.
everywhere else. Now they're here. They're on base housing. They're living in people's basements, friends, coworkers.
Right. They need somewhere to live.
They're actively, I need a house now.
Yeah. Right.
So that's a good thing. It's also a good thing for people thinking about listing their house.
Right. No. Right.
There's people to buy. So don't sit there and dive into the TV and think everything is just terrible. It's not.
No. It's not
It's
doom
not.
and gloom for sure.
We're going through changes. There's a lot of things happening.
Yeah.
But you have to take it for what it is and evaluate your situation.
What's funny is you and I have been doing this now long enough to know, like, there is a cycle to all of this, right? Like, we do have some ups and downs. We do have some curveballs that come along in our marketplace. But at the end of the day, I will say this. We have been very fortunate in our marketplace here in Southern Maryland, all St. Mary's, Calvert, and Charles. By the way, I call that Southern Maryland.
Southern Maryland.
A lot of people
It's a trifecta.
a lot of people say Prince George's is Southern Maryland. I've officially ruled them out. I think it's still Calvert, St. Mary's, and Charles. In Southern Maryland, I'm not going to use the word insulated because we're not. Okay. But
We're not in a bubble.
We're not in a bubble. We're not in that. But what we are is maybe we're protected a little bit. We have a little bit of protection. Government agencies and some big industries and things like that protect us a little bit. All of those things, but still having the availability of like USDA loans and those sorts of things in some of the areas really helps the more affordability. I always say Southern Maryland is the last affordable bastion in the state of Maryland. I believe we are.
I mean, so it used to be people would just travel wherever they wanted, right?
Right.
They thought, this is fine. I'm going to be able to work from home forever.
Yes.
Some of them may.
Right.
Depending on their classification, their job. Now we're starting to see people are calling back. Like,
Yeah.
you can't do that.
Right.
So there's people who moved state away or
Right.
5 or 6 counties away.
Right.
And thought they were isolated. They're now being pulled
They're
back.
coming back.
And that's fine. There's still housing. All the people who are getting ready to list their houses, which, by the way, I talked to a bunch of agents.
Yeah.
Every single one of them has a ton of listings coming.
There's stuff coming.
But we're looking at like March, April, May.
Darren, we always had that, right? Like, I remember January, February, we were always saying, I got stuff coming March, April,
Yep.
I got stuff coming March,
start
April.
creeping up into
They want
February.
that spring market that there's
Yeah.
supposed to be. I don't know how true it has been, over the last few years.
So we haven't seen the onslaught of applications. We're still talking to people every single day.
Right.
There's a lot of home equity line requests. People
Okay,
want to tap
that's
into
interesting.
equity, whether it's to fix up their home, pay off debt, send kids to college, buy another property.
Turning that office they converted 3 years ago back into a bedroom.
Well, take advantage of the 17-20% equity
Right.
that you have
Right.
over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's insane. I'm pulling up these people's properties, which I'm assuming, okay, here's what I think it's worth. And I put it in kind of like that AVM.
Yeah.
I'm like blown away.
Dude, remember you helped one of my clients a year and a half ago now, and he bought this first-time home buyer. He bought this house. little teeny house. And then his situation changed dramatically, and he had to sell it within a year. Within a year, do you know I'm still blown away by this. Within 1 year, he got out of that house with little to no expenses. 1 year, and that's including.
He did 100% financing.
100% financing, and
paying a realtor fee to sell
that's
it.
That's right, including and on both sides, everybody got paid. And the guy got out of the house basically scot-free.
So that means his property probably appreciated 10 to 12%
in 1 year.
In 1 year,
right? 1 year.
It's insane.
It is insane. And it was a little house. It wasn't anything special,
And we're not seeing prices go down.
No, we're not. We're not.
You're still in supply and demand.
I will say I see sellers affording more assistance. Like I see some more closing assistance coming out of sellers. I think, which is okay. When we want that, you know what I mean. I think that's a balanced market when you have sellers that are and there's a negotiation available between the buyer and the seller.
So we're really not in a buyer's market, we're really not in a seller's market. It's kind of like equal.
I think it's ultimately still a seller's market to some degree.
All right.
But actually the numbers would say it is a seller's market. But the reality of it is I think there's still opportunities for buyers that we didn't have before.
Yeah.
2 years ago, that was unheard of. You weren't getting closing help, right? And people were fighting over the same house.
Yeah.
And today it's not that bad, right? And I love that. Like I hated when you'd have people come in with 30 offers on a house. I really didn't like that.
Yeah.
Most people think you do, but doing the right thing for the buyer and seller is what we do.
So I know we've talked about a bunch of stuff here.
Yeah, we're all over.
And people are going to have questions, but I do want to share. Like we were just talking, I had an email come in. You were checking yours. I was checking mine. So I had a client this morning. I got an alert that they did a mortgage inquiry, right? It's typical. Most of my clients, I'm in good relationships with. So I emailed them. I said, hey, what are you guys doing? Is there anything I can help you with?
Right.
Is there any questions I can answer? And they had very specific. They had done a VA, and they were shopping for a refinance to roll in and consolidate debt. And like, oh yeah, online lender said we can get the 499. I'm like, what? I'm sorry, what?
Give me your number. No.
Yeah, I did. Just people jumping all over that. So the problem is, you have to be very careful with what you're dealing and talking to. Online lenders, their job is to get you in, get the paperwork signed, move forward, and close the deal. They don't care about your equity. They don't care about the position they're putting you in. Anything. You can get any rate as long as you pay enough points.
I please don't get mad at me if I say this wrong, Darren, but I would warn people that if you get on the phone with somebody and they say, let me get my supervisor to speak with you.
It's a setup.
Then you've been set up.
It's
right?
a setup, right?
But he's
the closer.
That's right.
A setup.
That's right.
Right. I got it.
I mean, I love the
fact the same thing. Just be aware of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And look, if you did a loan and that person took care of you.
Yeah.
Right. And you were happy with the service, reach out to them and call them. They're going to tell you if something's crazy or no, we can beat that or match it.
I'm going to throw something out there that probably a lot of people don't realize, and that is that relationship that you built. Maybe it may not be as important to the consumer at that time. At that time it is, right? But a year or 2 or 3 or 5 later, it may not be as important to them. We still try to communicate with our past clients, right?
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, when they call you, you still have that initial, I'll call it that romantic period that you're like, you want to take care of them.
Yeah.
They're calling you back. You want to do a good job for them. You're going to give them the best deal you possibly can.
This was 3 years, and I just sent them a basic email, and they said, hey, yeah, you were my next call. And then they went into the whole story.
Yeah, no, it's great.
And it's, I hate to see someone spend $12,000 in points to get a rate that, it makes you feel better, but you just spent $12,000 you're not getting back.
Right. You got to get that $12,000 in the course of the loan over. You're gonna,
Right. How long does it take to recruit? That's a whole other story. Numbers.
I have that conversation with people all the time.
That's our job and what we do for our clients.
Right. And I think we learned to fight, not to fight. We learned to dispute the rate conversation a long time ago.
Give me a worksheet.
Right.
Well, so everybody in my office, we do it all the time, and we share it and like this number's wrong, that's wrong. They don't know what this is. Right. They have no clue. These online lenders have zero clue.
And it's funny. I will tell you I think what's happening in a good way is even the sellers are becoming more educated on what we do and how it works. Right. I think so. I mean, I talk with sellers all the time and say, hey, this is what this is the effect of that rate on you selling this house.
Yep.
You know, this is how it's going to affect you in selling your home.
Yeah.
And I don't think people have that that seller intellect for all the time I've been in business. It's just evolving.
Well, and it's been like fast and furious.
Right. That's what I think.
You're going to pay me what for my house?
Right.
Sell it tomorrow.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Let's close before they change their mind.
Right. Yeah, I had a client a couple years ago call me up because you just sent me a CMA. Do you really think you can get that for me? I said, tomorrow. Tomorrow. I can sell it for you tomorrow. He goes, well, put it on the market today. What we get for him? Twice that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now, it's not that way
It's
now.
not like that now.
But it's still not, it's not a bad market, though, either way. That's where that balance comes in.
It is.
So, well, look, we could talk forever, and we probably will eventually.
So we'll have to say one thing for all the people asking, like, are we doing more stuff? Where have you been? You need to do more. Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Right? It's the beginning of the year.
We're going to see what happens.
February.
We're not in the summer yet, so we'll see what happens.
We'll try to put more out there.
Right.
And give everybody what they want.
That's what I'm hoping. So, all right, good chatting.